I was ready to leave Matt. I was in, Stefania.
You're nicer to that guest than you are to me.
Well,
Well, I'm just saying, maybe the reason why these people are not having sex is they're not from my generation, where eye banging was the first step of foreplay. And foreplay is a very important part of sex.
That's a point.
And I think that what's happening is that there's so much digital diddling.
Yes.
Like there's no real foreplay. There's no look. There's no brush by. There's no like fucking Grey's made an entire meal and they got me every time when they'd have Meredith and Derek in the fucking elevator together and their pinkies would touch and you were like, oh!
Definitely.
Right? They don't have that anymore. So yes, it starts with the eyes.
Yeah.
You get on in there, and then you brush by, and then and then there's the foreplay, and I think foreplay is probably happening less, and so people are missing out on the banging, the real banging.
That's a good point.
They're not doing.
I
They're not
actually think
starting
that's
with the
true.
eye banging.
I think there is definitely true. I think there's multiple reasons. Today they feel less pressure to have a relationship. Like they're more focused on their career. They're more ambitious, so they just give less attention to having a relationship with boys or girls or like
or making a family. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
But then you always hear what ends up happening, which is that they bump up against the thing that's harder to control, which is like the timeline of viability. Having babies if they want to, you know.
You know what? I think that we used to think that like it had to be done in 20s, early 30s. It's not true.
It's not anymore.
No, but sometimes that's a privilege on some level because you might need medical intervention and that's expensive. So
but I think the generation's willing to take the risk.
Yeah.
I think they know it
agree.
and they're willing to be like, you know what? It's still not right now and whatever happens will happen.
Yeah.
And they're not feeling that pressure just to get it done so that they can
it's very specific
it's
though,
hard.
this generation
thing.
And they did go through COVID and everything else, but I don't know.
I have two nieces. They're like 20, 19, and 23. And I was talking to one of them, and she was like, I met somebody. And I was like, okay, then what now? And she was like, well, I'm going to see them for a few weeks to see if I even like them as a person. And then I'll take it from there. And I was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, what? They didn't get eye banged.
I was like,
they missed the eye banging part.
Yeah,
Because otherwise that would have been
100%,
straight into the...
But I was like, wow, this is so mature, so
No,
kind
this
of
is
grown
really-
up. And I was like, I am a disaster. I go into things like a freaking bomb, and then there's fires and ashes. And you're like, no, wait, a few weeks to see if I even like you as a person. Yeah.
I text my nieces who are Gen Z.
Yeah.
And I said, why do you think you guys are having less sex as a generation?
What's wrong with you?
And they were like, no one we know goes out.
Wow.
Stop.
Oh, that's no good.
They're like, we don't go out anymore.
Right. Phone.
And so I think it's the same. I think even just like socially, there's not, everyone's sort of content because they have social access on their phones, right? So they're feeling like they're being social. We would sit and be like, we haven't fucking talked to anybody. We got to go get out.
We would get bored. It's so important to get bored because then you come up with things to do and say and to get out of the boredom. And I feel like they don't get bored anymore.
Did you grow up feeling comfortable talking about sex?
Oh, not at all.
Yeah, I mean,
it was like massive taboo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yours too? You too?
Oh, God. I have said, I don't think I put all the letters that are in masturbation together to form masturbation until I was in my 30s. It just was not, there were so many reasons why I was just, no. Yeah.
What dance for me was my outlet for my sensuality because I felt like I was on stage. I was playing a character, so I could be very sensual. So I loved it because I could express a part of me that I wasn't really allowed to express at home, obviously, or like amongst people that I was.
And also respected for it.
Exactly.
And seen as doing something wonderful.
Exactly.
How do your family feel that you're on a show that talks about also your OB?
Yeah.
We're talking about sex toys and vagina, like all of it.
I don't think I've had a lot of conversations with them about it.
That tracks.
I feel like I have an older aunt that is very conservative. She was like, would you know I've picked a different role? I was like, if you only knew how hard it was to get this one.
We pick roles.
That's not a multiple choice when you arrive in Los Angeles.
But I was like, that's funny. It's just so it lets you know how little perspective they have. And I was like, bless you. We're all the product of our own upbringing. She was also brought up in a Catholic environment, very conservative. But I was like, liberation. It felt so good to just talk about all of that.
Yeah.
But for me, it was a late awakening as well. Like I got my first vibrator 5 years ago, and I was like, what was I doing before?
You got your first vibrator 5 years ago?
7 years ago,
7 years ago?
7 years ago. Oh.
Can we ask which one? Because we had a whole sex toy episode. Do you know what it's called? Yes.
I tried a few, and I feel like I've settled on the little...
What is it? The little curve. That's what we got gifted, right? The little curvy curve?
I don't remember the curvy curve.
The curvy curve is good.
Stefania, we've told the story in the pod. We have a really funny story about Jessica going and buying her very first vibrator because she was younger.
It wasn't my first, Camila. It wasn't my first.
One of them. One of many. She was adding to the collection, and she pretended in the store that it was like a gift to somebody else.
Of course. I had a gift wrap.
But when you went in to buy your first vibrator 7 years ago. Online.
No, I couldn't. I ordered.
Did you order like a sampling?
I did, and then I figured out that I couldn't return them because obviously you can. And so I ended up with a set of freaking vibrators. Yeah, it was like, I don't know, a lot, too many.
I love that. I love that you did that for yourself, though. Are you seeing someone now?
No.
You are single?
Yeah.
Single mingle.
What?
Single mingle.
DM us.
Oh my God.